Ready to roll. Turn left. Time to hit the road. Okay, here we go. Get ready to turn left. Turn left. Stay right, and then turn right. Turn right. Stay left, and then turn left.
And for those that are pushing for a technology or market decoupling from China or market access tax.
Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Windsor Johnston. President Trump is deploying National Guard troops in the nation's capital this week as part of a federal crackdown on crime. Critics are questioning the stepped-up presence around Washington, D.C.'s iconic monuments, including the National Mall and
left.
Lincoln Memorial. As NPR's Tom Bowman reports, they point out that those symbolic sites are far removed from neighborhoods where residents say actual crime is occurring.
Incidents of violent crime in the nation's capital have dropped sharply in the past 2 years, but most crimes are not committed around the national monuments. They're being committed in the neighborhoods or along the busy commercial streets. I spoke with two retired National Guard generals who suggested that having Guard troops only at the monuments is really more performative, a public relations move.
That's NPR's Tom Bowman reporting. A growing wave of protests against the war in Gaza has swept Israel in recent weeks. NPR's Itai Stern reports hundreds of retired Israeli Air Force pilots rallied in Tel Aviv last night to call for an end to the war and the return of hostages.
Among the demonstrators was former chief of staff of the military Tom Clemens. He's also a fighter pilot and former Cruz rights activist. He told the crowd Hamas no longer possesses significance when it comes to the Gaza Strip is devastating most of the infrastructure and food. There is no harmony there. The last remaining Hamas members are alive. Hamas also warned against political pressure to push Israel back behind. Actions from Israel legality with partners heading the war in Gaza has already had morality both as human beings and as Jews. A recent poll showed 70% of Israelis ending the war. Dice terror in Tel Aviv.
Scientists say they've discovered 2.6 million-year-old teeth of a previously unknown human cousin. NPR's Nate Rod reports it's further evidence that human evolution was a complicated process.
We've all seen the t-shirts or memes of a series of apes standing up straighter and straighter and morphing into modern coffee-drinking man. Anthropologists, though, have long known that human evolution was not a linear process, and the new findings published in the journal Nature adds another piece to the puzzle. The teeth, the researchers believe, belong to a new species of Australopithecus, an upright walking ape-like species that coexisted with early human ancestors in East Africa. The discovery provides more evidence, researchers say, that human evolution was similar to that of other species, with many branches and dead ends. Nate Rott, NPR News.
You're listening to NPR News from Washington. Tropical storm Erin continues to gain strength in the Atlantic Ocean and is expected to be a Category 3 hurricane by the weekend. The National Hurricane Center says the storm is on track to pass just north of St. Martin, the British Virgin Islands, and Puerto Rico. The storm will probably take a path that misses the Bahamas and the United States. YouTube is rolling out an age verification system in the U.S. It uses artificial intelligence to guess if a user is underage. NPR's John Ruwitch reports social media sites are facing increasing pressure to protect kids from inappropriate content.
YouTube says it will use AI to assess a variety of signals, including account activity and longevity, to figure out if a signed-in user is a minor. If an account is determined to belong to someone who's under 18, it says standard protections for minors will be automatically applied. Those include showing only non-personalized ads and enabling well-being tools like reminders to take a break or go to bed. Users who think the AI model got it wrong can verify their true age with a photo ID or credit card. YouTube says its age inference approach has been used in other markets and it's worked well. Some critics say, though, it raises privacy concerns. John Ruwitch, NPR News.
Venus Williams will return to Grand Slam tennis at the U.S. Open at the age of 45. She received a wild card invite to compete in singles at Flushing Meadows. Williams has won 7 major singles championships, including at the U.S. Open in 2000 and 2001. This is NPR News.
Exit right.
And he has worked with
Our
Logan.
executive producer has.
And I asked him about the show.
Turn right.
I said, how do you learn to do that? He said the only way to learn how to do it is to do it.
Yeah.
Speaking of terrifying and working 40-hour days and all that jazz, how do you, I mean, Paul, you specifically, how do you act and direct and run the show? How do you do that?
Well, luckily I have two partners that
Yeah.
really help me. I mean, how Mike Schur does it alone, I don't know. The thing that you really need to do to learn how to do this is be in writers' rooms, potentially have set experience, and watch people do it. But, that's something that the writer's strike was really fighting for, was more time on set, because people need to be trained to make shows. And if they have short orders for streaming shows that they're there for 16 weeks and then they're gone, they're not there for the whole process to see all that it takes to make it.
So that actually goes to the pipeline question, not just comedy, but
Yeah.
what it is that you all do, right? You start as a baby writer and you're in that room and you don't know anything, and then you proceed and develop. Is that harder now, Jen?
It's certainly harder to find those opportunities. The model has been upended in the last decade or so, as streaming has kind of really turned everything upside down, and network TV and even cable TV, the way it was done for so long was exactly what we're talking about. You had a staff and they sat in that writer's room and they learned from people who had done it longer than them how to do it, and then you got on set and you saw how the process worked, and those are all incredibly valuable steps to learning how to run your own show. And if you don't follow those steps, the quality can suffer once you have your own show.
Are you hopeful for the industry?
I am. I mean,
That was a little bit of a pause. What did you say?
Well, I am. It's so funny because we're now talking 3 weeks after Colbert was canceled.
Right,
It's like
right.
a late night institution, which is the place that a lot of writers get their first job. A lot of baby writers start there, and a lot of stand-ups, comedians break on the
their
show.
breaks, right, yeah.
So I am optimistic. I think our show tries to be optimistic. When Deborah Vance leaves her show,
Right.
because she says, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to. Yeah, it is a spoiler, sorry. I've said this before. Never directed TV.
And there was just, the way that worked was where Comedy Central was where the heat happened. So there's just less pressure on each individual. There's so much pressure now on the show and right away to grab subscribers because it's all to the streaming and to travel locally. And yes, comedy does not travel as well as other genres. And so I think that it is a business problem that is being sometimes said as a comedy problem. And I don't think it's a comedy problem. I think it's a business problem.
Last thing, you guys can get back to the writer. So, what you guys do? Season 5, you know where the end is. It might seem far away now, but you guys are I'm not going to ask you what's next. I'm going to ask you what you're going to do after 4 months. Or you're just going to think it's next.
I would love to.
6 months would be great. I don't think
Bon, ajoutez-y un café infusé à partir de seulement $1 plus taxes. McCrib suprême offert jusqu'à 11h dans les restaurants McDonald's du Canada participants. Le prix n'inclut pas la livraison.
Salut, c'est moi, votre sommeil. Alors, selon le dernier rapport de Dormez-vous que j'ai ici sous les yeux, là, vous seriez plusieurs à me négliger. Hein? Quand vous regardez 8 épisodes de L'amour est dans les tables, ou que vous jouez toute la nuit à Zombie Maximum Apocalypse Extrême Édition, ça m'affecte. Et dormir, vous avez du talent là-dedans. En plus, vous êtes capable de faire ça les yeux fermés. C'est laissez aller.
Pendant l'événement, votre sommeil mérite mieux. Obtenez 20% de rabais sur presque tout. Pour un temps limité, seulement chez Dormez-vous. Certaines conditions.
Pour une mise à jour sur l'actualité qui bouge d'heure en heure.
Pour tout savoir sur ce qui se passe ici ou ailleurs.
Abonnez-vous au balado Les Actualités Cogeco Nouvelles.
Écoutez-nous partout, en tout temps.
Sur votre application Cogeco Média.
Les expériences casino de l'Auto-Québec sont de vrais incontournables.
Puis, t'as pas une semaine à Montréal? Inoubliable. Le Mont-Royal, le stade, le vieux. Ah oui, on a tout vu ça. Assis confortablement au restaurant Pavillon 67 du casino. Après s'être régalé au buffet, on est allé faire un tour à la table de roulette, puis on a fini ça en dansant sur la terrasse Le Jardin. OK, mais la ville dans tout ça. Oui, tout ça, en ville.
Découvrez le Casino de Montréal, un incontournable dans la métropole. 18 ans, bien joué, le jeu doit rester au jeu. L'événement Prenez la route Hyundai est de retour. Cet été, que vous empruntiez
I had to pick up some things. BTW, this is a comfy chair.
Did you see this study? It says companies that have up-to-date, high-quality office furniture find it easier to hire.
The news is next. Coming up in half an hour, it's commotion. Hey, I'm Ali Hassan, sitting in for Elamin Abdul Mahmoud. This month, the child star/influencer Little Tay launched an OnlyFans account. Days after she turned 18, you'll hear about all the reaction that came afterwards and why Some of it was warranted, but a lot went too far.
This is CBC News. Good evening, it's 7 o'clock. I'm Simon Nakaneshny with your CBC News from Montreal. Air Canada will start cancelling flights tomorrow ahead of a potential strike by its flight attendants. The union representing 10,000 workers issued a strike notice overnight. They could walk off the job this weekend. The airline says the two sides have reached an impasse in negotiations. Air Canada says it is offering refunds and will do its best to rebook travelers affected. Anyone traveling between Friday and Monday can change their flight for free. The company says the disruption can affect about 130,000 customers a day. Police are investigating a series of arsons in downtown St. John's. The news comes as out-of-control wildfires continue to burn across Newfoundland and Labrador. Nicola Sigan has more.
The investigation into those fires, we do believe they are suspicious in nature, and we suspect that one person is responsible.
Constable James Cadigan says the Royal Newfoundland Constabulary is investigating at least 5 suspicious brush fires set overnight in downtown St. John's. This comes as the province continues to grapple with out-of-control fires, including one just kilometers from St. John's.
As this continues to get worse over the last few days, it's very clear that all Newfoundlanders and Labradorians' level of anxiety continues to rise.
Newfoundland and Labrador Premier John Hogan issued new evacuation orders yesterday, and close to 20,000 people are under evacuation alerts. The province's largest fire, the Kingston Fire, continues to grow, keeping more than 3,000 people from their homes and destroying houses. As for the forecast, no rain until Friday at the earliest. Nicola Sagan, CBC News, Halifax.
On Vancouver Island, firefighters are trying to contain a wildfire burning about 12 kilometers from Port Alberni. Fire Information Officer Carly DeRosier says a combination of drought, heat, wind, and steep terrain helped the fire grow.
The Mount Underwood wildfire is currently estimated at 2,156 hectares, so it has grown since the update last night when it was around just over 1,400 hectares. So we are seeing most active flank of the fire is the east flank, which is the furthest from the community of Port Alberni.
DeRossi says the priority is containing the northwest flank of the fire. She says for the moment the community is not under imminent threat. Here in Montreal, Public Health says 2 more heat-related deaths have been reported. Since the beginning of this latest heat wave, the total number is 3. Also, 2 people suffered heat stroke. The city broke temperature records yesterday, and it was hot again today in the metropolis, although things should cool down tomorrow at least by a bit. And the man accused of assaulting a Jewish father in a Montreal park last week will be sent to a psychiatric hospital for a 30-day evaluation. 23-year-old Sergio Yanis Preciado was back in court again today. The evaluation will seek to determine if he's criminally responsible for the attack, which was captured on video and drew public outrage. Yanis Preciado has been charged with assault causing bodily harm. Radio-Canada has learned that 2 ministers in the Legault government will testify at the Gallant Commission next week. Transport Minister Geneviève Guilbeault will appear at the hearings, which are looking into cost overruns at the province's auto insurance board. Guilbeault's predecessor, François Bonnardel, is also expected to appear. The hearings are set to resume Monday. Next week, the inquiry is expected to focus on the ministry's role in the auto insurance board's digital transition. Failures with its online platform Saclic led to long lineups at SAQ outlets and cost overruns of almost $500 million. And in Manitoba, Premier Wab Kinew is calling on Ottawa to support canola growers after China slapped a 75% preliminary anti-dumping duty on Canadian canola.
And let's see the federal government step up with the same sort of supports that you've seen for the steel industry, for the auto industry, and for the lumber industry.
Kinew says what sparked the Chinese move was tariffs Canada put on Chinese electric vehicles. He wants some of that revenue that he estimates at $100 million to use to support canola farmers. And that was the CBC News. Now here's a look at the weather in Montreal tonight. Chance of showers, risk of a thunderstorm early in the evening, the low 19. Tomorrow, mix of sun and cloud and a high of 28. For Quebec City, showers or thunderstorms ending in the evening. Still a chance of rain overnight, though, the low 17. Chance of showers tomorrow as well, and a high of 25. And in Sherbrooke tonight, cloudy with the chance of rain. Risk of a thunderstorm this evening, the low 20. Tomorrow, a few showers as well, and a high of 25 degrees. You're listening to CBC Radio 1.
Hello again, and welcome back. I'm Arti Paul.
And I'm Faith Fundal. This is As It Happens, the Wednesday edition, Part 2. Coming up.
You gotta hand it to them. A planned cross-border show of solidarity will have Canadians and Americans forming a human chain across Quebec's border with Vermont.
Knuckling Down, an upcoming international Indigenous sporting event, features traditional games, including the exceedingly strenuous competition known as the Knuckle Hop.
And it came from outer space and landed in a living room in Georgia. A planetary geologist explains how a meteorite made it from deep space to the deep south. Stay tuned.
They were looking for evidence of migration, and they were disappointed. Buried in 7th century cemeteries along the country's south coast, they found the remains of a girl and a young man. DNA testing showed clear links to Yoruba, Mende, and other peoples in what is now modern-day Nigeria. Their work, published in the journal Antiquity, claims to show the first genetic connections between Britain and Africa during this time period.